We got this really funny email. It's called Subtitle Mishap in Question.
Oh, okay. I actually was open. That's what I was just looking at. I'll let you read it to me.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Well, hey guys, this is Between the Reps with Brooke and Gina.
Yeah,
welcome. Happy Tuesday.
Welcome back. Is it Tuesday?
Well, no, but it'll come out on Tuesday. Stupid.
But you realize that I would have believed you.
You don't even know what day it is. Yes, no, this will be Tuesday when this comes out. It says, Dear Brooke and Gina, I am a German girl, so I am not an English native speaker. I really like to use your podcast for improving my English skills. That's why I want to thank you for producing. I know, right? Uh-oh. She won't be able to pronounce anything correctly. That's why I want to thank you for producing Between the Reps. Also, really enjoy your cooking videos on YouTube. I usually watch them with subtitles. This subtitle mishap is currently my favorite that I do not want to withhold from you.
Oh, no.
I don't know if the sound's on.
Just play it in the.
I was trying to make sure that my sound. Oh, I don't think there's any sound on the video.
Oh, it's just a picture.
So
of
it's
subtitles?
just us. It's us doing the protein shake thing, I think.
And then look what oh, okay.
And it says that we are saying what?
So the subtitle of this is yogurt, 3 teaspoons of dill, the juice of half of a woman.
No, we did not use woman juice.
No.
Or dill.
We didn't do any of those things.
No.
I was like,
makes me wonder if the person doing the subtitles also, I don't know.
No, I know what kind we were making, but I'm like, by the subtitles, I have no idea what kind of shake we were making.
Girl nectar.
Nectar of the girls.
The girls. I thought that was funny.
Speaking of shakes.
Yeah?
I'm drinking one, so I'm just going to plug it.
Yeah, well, I just had one too. It was really good.
Yeah. If you're watching it, don't mind my shaker cup. It says overnight oats on it because the company sent me some. They also sent me a shaker bottle, and I hoard shaker bottles.
You are a hoarder. But you know what I noticed? And it's so much like, I bet you so many people's houses are the exact same way, is it's like a lot of the bottoms without the caps.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you know, like your Tupperware.
Yeah.
You know, you end up with all the lids.
Yep.
With not the container itself.
I have lots of bottoms.
But why do we keep them? I've got lots of bottoms.
Well.
And you feel weird throwing it out.
Yeah.
Getting rid of it. But it's like, really, there's only one lid that fits it.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, unless you use like saran wrap or something.
They have some of those. I've seen like on Instagram Explore page or when they send ads through your Instagram.
Uh-huh. Oh, those lids?
Yeah, like the ones that like
wrap around.
Like stretch over the top or something.
I mean, there you go. Well,
just now we know why Tupperware condoms.
Now they are Tupperware condoms. Now we know why you're saving all your bottoms.
Anyways, I'm drinking Resilience FNX protein, collagen protein, with 3 grams of leucine per serving. Brownie batter mixed with almond milk, and it tastes so good.
I had the pink berry one. I
know it's your favorite.
That's my favorite one. This gal. Oh, I should say who she is.
Yeah.
I don't have my glasses on. Nele Nugetsig.
Oh yeah, try again.
Nelly. Are you just trying to put me on the spot?
I was going to read it for you, and then I remembered that you may not be able to pronounce her name.
Nele Nugetsig, I think.
Well, clearly we could use your help for learning how to speak German.
Yeah. Well, she asks, which languages do you guys speak and which would you like to learn?
Oh man.
I don't speak any other
English.
languages. Did
you take any languages in high school?
Yeah, I took Spanish.
So
my
did I.
Spanish name was Juana.
Nice.
Yeah, they gave us all Spanish names. I was like, I don't think that's Gina in Spanish, but
I've told you this. I took Spanish for 2 years. And the only thing I remember is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh.
Yeah.
The whole thing?
Yep.
Wow.
Because we said it every day. It was when I don't know if they still do that in school.
I don't know either.
But when I was in school,
back in my day, way back. Way back in the day.
Oh my God, it's the first time I've ever really said that. When I was in school, it was your first period. you always said the Pledge of Allegiance, like when class, like the bell rang.
Oh, I thought you meant like when you got your first period.
Oh. You just hear girls around the
just
hall.
all over the place. I pledge allegiance.
Yeah. Should I say it?
Sure. It's
right.
long. Start it.
Just long.
Start it.
Okay.
Okay, go. All you Spanish speakers out there.
Yeah. If I might mess up, I haven't done this in a while. Juro fidelidad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios indivisible con libertad y justicia para todos.
Oh, wow. Wow. That was good.
And now in English.
I can say, ¿Dónde está el baño?
I can say, me llamo Brooke. ¿Y tú?
Me llamo Juana.
And you?
Yeah, that's about it.
I did sign language in high school.
That's cool.
That was really cool. My nephew, my brother's oldest, is special needs, and he can't talk.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was in school, I started teaching him sign language.
Oh, that's very cool.
And he still like uses it. And we got to a point where we made up signs for people for names.
Uh-huh.
So he has different things that he does.
Oh, for each
like
person?
For like me, my mom, my dad,
oh,
his
that's
dad,
cute.
my sisters. Yeah.
Do you think you will teach your child sign language? You know, like they do like the poop. I think it's this.
Or
poop.
like food.
Poop, food.
Right?
Yeah. I never did that with my kids.
Probably not.
That kind of like became a thing after I had my kids.
Yeah, I do
I think
wish
it's smart though.
Now, like my cousin's son is, because they have it in schools, younger, like elementary school. And he's been doing Mandarin.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, how old is he?
Just running around the house speaking Mandarin?
He's like 6.
That's just what they're saying.
7?
It's like, you know, like when parents think that their kids are really smart. They're like, oh, no, he's just speaking Mandarin. It's just gibberish.
No,
I believe you.
But yes, but he's in the program they have them in. He'll be fluent.
Oh, wow.
When he's in like middle school.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, they say that's when you're supposed to teach them another language. So yeah, to answer your question, Nele,
English.
English, unfortunately, is the only language.
Pig Latin.
Ukbre. Nina J.
I may.
Yeah.
Aim nay. Ukbre.
See, I'm not even smart enough to like figure that out.
I mean, I have to do it really, really slow.
Yeah.
I remember girls when I was growing up that like would talk to each other like that. They had like these made up languages. I was never smart enough to decode them.
My sister Michaela.
I'm like, slow down.
You're
Use
writing it all down.
You act it out.
Charades. My sister Michaela, when we were growing up, we were like the private school kids. We went to school called, we were like the weird kids. And my mom would make us walk to school, which, you know, I was thinking back, and I think it's great to like make your kids be active, but we were laughing. We were like, my mom didn't work and she made us like walk to school every day and pick us up. Like, what the heck? Which I guess that was good for us. But Michaela, so every day that we would walk to school, we would walk by the public school kids, the cool kids. And she, for some reason, thought it would be really cool to act like she spoke another language. So she would just make up that she was speaking another language just as we were walking by them. And I was like, you're such a dork. She thought she was really cool.
Yeah, in private school, we learned.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and to really make us seem really weird, you know what I mean? And I think it was like always like she was using like the same word over and over again, so it didn't even sound
with different like inflections.
Yeah. They used to call us the Bay Monsters because we went to Baymont. And they'd call us Bay Monsters and throw rocks at us. Oh. I know, so mean.
Do they hit you?
Oh, yeah, a couple times. One time I was riding my bike and one of the kids threw their baseball mitt and it like went underneath the tire of my bike and it just took me out. I like went sliding down the hill. So mean. If you're out there,
people don't forget.
I still have a scar on my knee.
That reminds me of Big Daddy. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
When they'd go and they'd throw sticks where the rollerbladers were at.
They were like bonding.
Mean.
As we're laughing. Don't do that. Be nice to people. So I'm a little glossy right now. I don't know if you can tell.
Oh,
Am I looking glossy?
Not bad.
Not bad. I had my eyebrows redone.
I know I need to get mine redone.
I had them microbladed. Microblading is, and I'm not an expert, I always have to put that out there, is they take this little tool, and for a lot of people, they have like real nice thick brows when they're younger. But, you know, me going through, you know, the 80s and the 90s, everything was like pencil thin. So it hasn't really grown back. And so as I've gotten older, I've had to like constantly, you know, like fill them in. And man, as you lose more hair, it's like so much harder to like get it even, and you spend so much time, and you know, half the time you're all crooked and everything.
They look really good.
Thank you. So I had them microbladed a few years ago, and but I went to a new girl this time, and it usually lasts for about a year, and then you have to go and like get touch-ups. But this girl was awesome. She's actually at the place that Sue Bell, she was like on the podcast before. She's at her place. And so
remember what it's called?
Simply Skin.
Simply Skin in Santa Cruz, California.
And so I went into her gal, and she uses a different pigment, because what I noticed is that this pigment turned kind of like a bluish color over time as it was fading. And so I really looked like an old lady. Like I had my
silver fox.
Yeah. Had like the blue eyebrows, but went in, and this gal redid them. And so they take this little tool and they kind of like make these little rip marks like for those of you who don't know what it is. Yeah. Like little cuts. And then they put the ink, like almost like a tattoo ink, in, like kind of rub it into it. So that it still has like kind of like a feathering effect. So it's not like a big solid brow.
Yeah. So it's like lines.
Yeah. Like lines in it, to look like hair. And, so, but this girl, it was so much better. I guess she uses a different ink. So like if you're going to go and get your brows done, make sure that you look to see if they have, it's an organic ink. I wish I knew the name of it. Of course I don't. I'm starting to talk about it and realizing I should have known that. And her care instructions were different. So it takes like a couple weeks for it to completely heal. But the last times that I've done it, my eyebrows get like really crusty.
Yeah.
You know, they told me like keep Aquaphor on it at all times. Don't let any water on it. It'll fade the ink and all this other stuff. Well, now I'm finding out, well, no, it was the ink that they were using. And so with this gal, you can wash your brows. You just wash them in the morning with like Cetaphil, morning and nighttime, and then you just put the Aquaphor on, and then you don't put it on throughout the day. You know, unless you're taking a shower, you just put it on really thick, so you know you don't have water and soap running into your the wounds. And then I mean the healing time has been so much faster. I've barely peeled. She says to just put a little, like a thin layer, because I guess what she was saying is that, no, you need to wash them and you don't want to cover them all the time because they need to heal. They need the air to heal. So it's just been a completely different process. So it's been a lot better. So I would recommend.
What was her name?
Lindsay Urbani. Oh, and there's my phone. Okay.
Oh,
turn it down.
Blowing.
Sorry, I know, blowing it.
Yeah, I actually, because I just got a facial.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make an appointment to get my brows redone.
What color are you going to do? I mean, that's the problem, is if you keep changing your hair color.
Probably.
You're like, I went with red.
Not gonna do
No,
red.
I know. Just bright red brows.
Probably the same I did last time.
Yeah, just like a light brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I like to have dark brows anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, a little good. But yeah, no, I would really recommend her if you're in our area and you listen. She's really, really good, and she's very meticulous. And it's really funny. She sends you home with this little like care package, and one of the things was it's like a stick-on visor. So you it's like this clear thing. You look like an idiot. I should have brought it. You peel it off and then you just stick it onto your forehead. So like while you're showering, it like, you know, guards your brows. So you look extra sexy. So, but I think that's just for like the first couple of weeks. And then of course, you know, you can't be tanning or, you know, putting anything on your face that's like chemical or anything like that. You just have to be like really careful around them.
What else did you do?
Well, so when I went in, she's like, well, she does lip blushing. And I had heard of other people doing it before, but I wasn't totally sure what it was, which was my bad. I should have like looked into it, like the actual process.
You were like, what is it? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Sure. I mean, it's just, semi-permanent on my face. And so, basically what they do is, she starts numbing me while she's doing my eyebrows. And I thought that it was kind of like the same procedure, but it's an actual tattoo gun.
Oh.
So you kind of like pick your color. And basically what it is that it's just supposed to give like a blushing to your lips. Cause, some people do it younger, but, as you get older also your lips start to kind of like fade. So like there's less definition to like see like where your lip starts, where your face ends and your lip starts, I guess. And so, you pick out your color, and that's another thing. You're like, well, what color?
Yeah.
And so I knew that I didn't want like the orangey color. And so she did like this pink and added a little bit of red to it. And I kept looking at the color like, but it's not going to be that color, right? Cause it's like bright, like an old lady lipstick. And, sorry if you wear pink lipstick. I said that to somebody else and they were like, I wear pink lipstick. So I like pink, but it just, I don't know. It just reminds me of that. So they numb you. And then she goes in and she does like a couple passes with this stuff. And it's funny because it like gets in your mouth. So it's like all stuck between your teeth, like all this like bright pink crap. And I got to tell you, it hurts. It is really painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had no idea. And I was going to work after, not really thinking about it. And so she gets done and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Because it was, I guess when the air hits the pigment,
like oxidizes?
It oxidizes and it turns orange, like a bright pink orange. And my lips were so swollen. I mean, it looked like I had a really bad filler job. So my lips are like out to here, bright orange. And because the swelling isn't like uniform, it looked like it was all crooked. So I was like, shit. But no, it's, and it kind of feels like you've had like a really bad sunburn after, but the swelling went down within like a day, about a day and a half. And then, it'll slough off. So it starts to like kind of like peel off eventually. And you're supposed to, of course, not peel it. And I'm like rubbing my lips together, cause it's like, it feels like you have chapped lips. I mean, you have like actual, like a little bit of skin coming off. So, I think
everyone's like, this sounds great.
I know, this sounds like such a good idea. No, I really like the result of it. I think there's a couple little spots, and it's my fault because I, kept rubbing my lips together that it took off. See, like in here a little bit. But the edges are still a little bit darker, so it kind of like sloughs off. It doesn't completely look even right away. Mm-hmm. But then as the swelling went down and everything, it's like, kind of more, it's straight, thank God, So they still look like they're my lips. But no, I like it. I mean, it just gives you a little bit more, I don't know. I just feel so youthful, guys.
I like the idea of it because, well, and like for you too, but like I use like stain or things like that to make my lips more of your natural color.
Right. And that's kind of what this does. Yeah.
But that doesn't last all day.
Right.
And then I prefer chapstick or like Aquaphor.
Me too. And another thing is, you're too young, but what I noticed is, cause I have kind of like deep wrinkles in my lips. So like when I would put on, like lip liner and lipstick, it would like seep up into the cracks, and you'd have to like kind of like wipe it out constantly. So that's kind of nice cause it kind of defines it without, you doing that. And that's the first thing I asked her. I was like, so if I do this and I have wrinkles in my lips, is it going to seep up in there? And she's, oh, no. So, and it didn't, it's like a, straight line. So yeah.
And they look pretty.
Thank you.
You look so pretty.
Oh, thanks.
How old are you?
Oh, I'm 38.
I'm 38.
I'm 38 now. 49.
Did she need to do more numbing? Or did she not like wait long enough?
I mean, there were times when I was like, oh, like it was hard to withstand a little bit. And then she would go and she'd put like more numbing cream on it and kind of wait and go. But she's very meticulous. And what I liked about it is that I've done things to my face before, that it seems like they're going really fast. You know what I mean? And she's like, she does everything like very slow and meticulous and stops and looks. And that's the other thing is like when you're laying down, things look different than, you know, sitting you up and like looking at you from the front and doing all that. So, yeah, she was really, really good. I would definitely go back.
How long did she say that like lip blushing lasts then?
Interesting that you asked me that because I didn't ask.
Let me Google it.
It was all she was telling me, she said, you know, most likely you will have, you know, a little variation in color and I would have to come back and do touch up, which that was included in the price. I don't know what it normally is. I mean, it's a little pricey. I would not say if you are a student or something to go and do something like this, because it's not, I mean, I think you'd probably have to do it like once a year. I'm assuming it's like
more than that.
Oh, really?
More years than that.
Oh, wow.
This says, how long does lip blushing last? Between 2 and 5 years.
Oh, well, then it's worth it.
Depending on how carefully you follow aftercare.
Well, that's the problem.
And how many touch-up sessions you have.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. My lips get so chapped all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you have to be prepared. Like you might want to take like a day off or something because my lips look like a baboon's butt. I mean, it was like a butthole. It was horrible. Are you looking at it? That's
really pretty.
Yeah.
I just Googled how long did lip blushing last. And if I looked at the images, really pretty.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
So price wise, it was, I mean, usually for touch-ups for the eyebrows, it's less, but since I was the you know, first time client of hers, it was $500 for eyebrows and it's usually $500 for lips, but she did both for $700. Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah. You know, cause I have all the money in the world to be doing. I'm just trying to look as natural as possible when I go to Joey's wedding and I come out of the water.
Oh my God. Do you still have makeup on?
Yeah.
What kind of makeup are you wearing that stays on when you're you're not even going to be in the ocean?
I know. Who am I kidding?
What you meant was when I stand near the pool.
Right.
No. When I first come out of the shower.
Right. I mean, I am sharing a house with people, so, you know, I want to look really good.
When I come out of the water.
I know. You just like the Bond girl. Be like Bond girl went bad. So bad.
You come out just like, piss, like sand. Even if your face looked good, you'd be doing some face that would.
Oh, I'm sure I would. Yeah. So yeah, I would recommend it. It was cool.
In partnership with Wondery, the creators of Next Big Idea and Business Wars, comes the School of Greatness podcast with Lewis Howes. The School of Greatness is the best place for listeners to learn how to dream bigger, live better, and make an impact.
The show features conversations with world-class game changers and dives into topics from entrepreneurship and inspiration to health and relationships.
Past guests on the School of Greatness have included powerhouses like Tony Robbins, Ariana Huffington, Jerry West, Danica Patrick, and so many more.
As you listen to their conversations, you'll learn the keys to their accomplishments and be able to apply them in your own life.
Before Lewis Howes dedicated himself to helping people find empowerment in their own lives, he was a star athlete whose dreams were crushed by an injury. He didn't let his setbacks define him, and neither should you. Lewis's story is a perfect example of how anybody can overcome obstacles in their life and strive every single day for greatness. On the School of Greatness, Lewis and his guests share their secrets to success. Subscribe to the School of Greatness with Lewis Howes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening right now. Get ready to learn the wisdom, skills, and tools to write your own story. When do you leave for Tulum?
On March, I think it's the 17th or the 18th. Yeah. We just had Joey's shower. That was great. His fiance, Morgan, her mom and her sisters, her aunts, threw it. And we just went to a restaurant and had they did like a little taco bar and decorated and stuff. And it was interesting. You know, I've had a little anxiety, not because my ex and I don't get along. We get along great. But you know, there's just like so many dynamics with, you know, now he's got the new girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Well, he's had her for a while and she's very nice. You know, but she's just, I don't even know how old she is. I think she's like 30, low 30s. something like that. So she's close to our older kids' age. And I'm telling you, I've been having like some anxiety about like just not just the dynamic, but because it's not just them going, it's also Joey's mom. So I'm Joey's technically his stepmom, but he's been in my life since he was 2.
His, hers, and ours.
Yeah. So I was kind of having some anxiety about it, but the party actually went really well. Everybody got along great. Everyone was super sweet. There's just like, anytime you have a blended family, there's these things that you have to deal with. And I know it's not rational. I think I've told you this before. It's not rational. But when, my kids are like hanging out with, Nico's girlfriend and they're super close and all this kind of stuff, it's like, I want to like go and like pee on all of them like a dog. Like, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. And she is really great. Like, she's not, she's not, it would be hard for her, you're going into a family that, was, a family for 25 years, so it would be very hard to go into that situation and kind of like find your place. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we're all just trying to figure out our place, And so it's like, I'm trying to think of a circumstance. Like, when Nico and I are together, I try really hard to not talk about things that, while we were together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just out of respect for her. And I've also been in her position. I mean, I wouldn't call her the stepmom, but I've been in that side of it too, where, you also want to make sure that they know that they're the mom, you're not overstepping your bounds with them. I mean, so it's just funny because like every once in a while, like she said before, like I'm talking to somebody and she'll like say like, oh, Jordan, my older son, Jordan is so talented. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like not really to me, but and again, it's not rational because he is really talented, Yep. And she's just, being a part of the conversation, but it's interesting how that makes you feel inside. Like,
yeah. And I don't know what that's like, but I can imagine that it's very normal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's normal. I think for me, it's just important for me to like not, I think you can't react, you don't want to react because, and I have to like constantly like remind myself like, okay, you know what? She's finding her place. I'm figuring out mine, and then, Joey's mom was really sweet. She was introducing me to everybody as Joey's other mom, which was very nice, which made it sound like we were a couple maybe. But no, she was actually there with her girlfriend. And, so yeah, my anxiety is a little bit lower after that, just because I'm like, okay, you know what? This is going to be okay. I mean, I knew that it would always look like it was okay. I just didn't know if I would feel that way.
Yeah.
So,
imagine like being in Joey's place where it's like introducing like, people coming to the wedding.
Right.
Hey guys, so this is my mom.
Right.
Hey guys, this is my mom. This is my mom. And that's my dad's girlfriend.
Right.
It's my stepdad.
Right. Yeah. No, I know. I know these poor kids, man.
Just like going to have to have like a family garden, not a family tree.
Yeah, it is a family garden for sure. But it's funny too, because so with Nico, so their dad. Okay, this is gonna get really confusing. So our oldest son, Jordan, goes out with Sammy. Sammy is best friends with Morgan, who is Joey, Jordan's brother's they're best friends.
Yep.
Right. And so the two brothers are with best friends, and the two girls, their parents are best friends. So we had the whole family there. So like on the other side, and then Kylie, my daughter, her husband, Casey, his brother is going out with Jordan's girlfriend's older sister. So it's like, I know, try to put that one together.
Spider web.
So they're all, and none of it's incestuous. It's not that close, but it's actually really cool because I love that all all of my older kids are all, you know, so
Close.
intertwined in their girlfriends and, you know, all of that. So they're all, really good friends. So yeah.
Well,
really is the family garden.
Similar, I guess. My dad's brother.
Okay.
His 2 sons.
Uh-huh.
They are married to sisters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So both of their wives are actually sisters.
Right. Sister wives.
They are sister
Not in that way.
Well, man, family events though, you can, 2 birds, 1 stone.
I know. That's exactly. Yeah. No. Yeah.
So just for, I guess, a quick information for all of our listeners, for you.
Yeah.
Give a little quick explanation of your family. Not explanation,
just
but like
immediate family.
Yeah, just like his, hers, and ours.
Oh, for Nico and I.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had Jordan before I met Nico. He had Kylie and Joey. So when we met,
how old are they?
Okay, so when we met, Jordan and Kylie are 3 weeks apart, and both they would have been 2. And Joey his son is 6 months younger than both of them. And I think I explained this earlier. Nico had 2 kids with 2 different moms when he was like 18. And I'm pretty sure they were pregnant at the same time.
21.
yeah, 21 Savage. So we had the 2 that were 2, and then Joey was 1.5. And so we not only had one mom to, interact with, but we had the other mom to interact with, and they were not interacting at all. Right. So yeah, it made life really interesting when you're, 21 years old with all these kids. And all I kept thinking was, oh man, these kids are gonna be so fucked up. You know what I mean? Like,
they turned out great.
Man,
actually.
no, they're awesome. They really, really have. And, I have to say it was very sweet. I guess one of my friends, Jen, had gone up to Nico, and she came up to tell me later. She said, I just want you to know, I told Nico, how wonderful Joey is. And, he's just so great and this and that. And I guess Nico said, well, that didn't have to do with me. That was all Gina, which was very sweet of him. So.
And then you had Ruby when your other kids were how old?
Well, so what's funny, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, Nico and I, when we got married, we were 22 or 23. And so Nico actually got a vasectomy. And it's so funny because like most people were like, most doctors won't do a vasectomy on somebody that young. And he explained our family dynamic. And because, we had decided, hey, 3 failed relationships between the 2 of us.
Doctor's like, say no more, get on the table.
Yeah. And so, we had not planned on having any kids together. I mean, we were young, broke, couldn't imagine adding another child to that. So we opted to have his vasectomy. I think he was only like 25 or 24. And so then, we were married for a while. I think we were married almost 8 years, and we never really talked about having more kids. But I remember one time I think it was randomly like at a basketball game. There was this like cute little girl with like pigtails, and Nico like leans over to me and he goes, "That's what our daughter would look like if we had a kid." And I was like, "Oh, she's so cute." And so that kind of opened the discussion. We started talking about it, and we talked about it for a year or so, maybe a couple years. And I finally was like, hey, if we're going to do this, like, our kids, I want to be pregnant by the time I'm 30, only because at that point our kids would already be like 10 years apart.
Yeah.
And already I feel like I've been a mom for so long. I mean, like of young kids. So, I really didn't want it to be even longer. And especially like, I feel like I'm going to be having grandkids soon. I didn't want to be having grandkids that were maybe the same age as their sibling. And so we actually went to a doctor, and he had a reversal. And I think I've already talked about this. And so, I did talk about it because
that's right.
He had the reversal, and that, they said that we would, maybe take up to a year to have a kid.
Yeah. So you're like,
took like
reverse.
a month. Yeah. It took like a month. He was so bummed. He just thought he was going to have so much sex. So, So then Ruby is ours together. And then in the meantime, my oldest, Nico, has been kind of his only parent. And so Nico adopted him. And so, but this was the only child that we actually had together. Mm-hmm. Just a little spitfire, that one.
She is.
Just a little wild woman.
I remember Nico talking about it. It's like,
I think we talked about this. Yeah.
He had like talked about how like there was like what do you say, like one sperm left, and it was just in there, just running back and forth, just like
it's all crazy,
a
little crazy sperm, made a little crazy
as soon as it
kid.
Came out, bam! Only took one try,
right.
And you got Ruby.
Yeah, we got Rubes. So, who's now? I mean, she's gonna be 20 this year. That's so crazy to me. So crazy. But yeah, so yeah, that's the rundown of our and no therapy so far for the kids. I mean, that's bad. That probably would have been a really good thing.
What would you say? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that can really relate to, either can relate to your kids or can relate to you directly.
Yeah.
What would you say like were some things that are difficult with like having a blended family?
Oh, a lot of things. I mean, it honestly, it shocks me, we've talked about, marriage and, whether you call it a failure or not, like when it ends and all that. I really don't feel like it was at all for us, because I think that, we had so many challenges coming into it, you have not only blending your children, and I think in our situation, I was more of like the disciplinarian, and I think he was kind of fine with me doing the kids.
Yeah.
I think the hard thing, it's hard for everyone, right? It's hard for, we didn't necessarily have the same, I don't know if I want to call it value system, but we just had a different household. So you have a kid who's, going back and forth. They have a different set of rules at mom's than they do at dad's. And so there was always, especially when they were younger, there was a period of time that was kind of like relearning the rules, and then as a step parent, you're trying to not be a step monster, and so you're trying to allow them to catch up, but then you're still having to, put in place rules and, not just discipline, but just, your everyday, what's expected and all of that. And, issues with respect to parents and all this kind of stuff. And it can be really, really, really challenging. And I think, I definitely did a lot wrong. I was telling the kids the other day, I said, man, I feel like I just did so many dumb things with you guys. Like, I'm so sorry, and they all were, oh no, Mom, you were great. You're fine. And my, if you want to technically call them my stepkids, I don't consider them that.
They're not.
I've really, not recently, I really grew to truly love them like my own. I don't think it has to be blood, they have really, really, been a huge force in my life, the both of them, all my kids. And, I think that's the challenge. And I think that when you don't have two parents that are on the same page, that is huge.
Or four
parents. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes it even more difficult. It's really hard. It's a struggle. And, you go through those years of like them wanting to be at another parent's house because their rules aren't the same as yours and all of that. And then, I tell people all the time, you just can't give up on them, and you have to be, and I think a big rule, and I know that it's hard sometimes, but I think a big rule is not, regardless of how frustrated you are or anything else, you can't talk about the other parent.
Yeah.
It's huge. You really can't, because we had some of that going on on the other side, and our big rule was that we do not speak negatively about the other one's parents. And even in situations when they're saying, well, Mom says I can do this, or Mom, da, 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 and it's like, your mom, we just have different rules. We don't try not to make it a bad thing. I'm sure that there were times when my tone was maybe not the best, and I've definitely slipped up before, but I think that if you can show your kids that, this is our household, this is what we expect, we love you, we care, you do it in a loving way, I think they will come around. You're definitely going to have those shitty years where they hate you, but you have to be willing to let them hate you and not try to fight back, fight why they hate you.
Yeah.
I think that it's a big one, and I've seen other parents do it before. I mean, I've been in situations before where I'm sitting, at a something for one of my kids, and the parents are going through a divorce, and one of the moms is going off about her ex and how this has happened, that's happened, and their kid is sitting right next to them.
Yeah.
And I understand needing to vent and needing to feel like your feelings are valid, but that just does not ever need to be done in front of those kids.
Yeah.
Ever. And as mad as you are or anything else, I mean, we are the parents. We're the ones that have to be adult, and be mature. And so, I think with Nico and I, when we split up, I mean, there was definitely some stuff that's happened along the way, but I think it always, you're not going to convince your children to hate their dad.
No. Or
hate their mom. You know what I mean? I mean, there are situations where kids are completely isolated from their other parent. And so they may, unfortunately, that may happen. But I think in a situation where they're around both of you so much, they're going to eventually, maybe not right away. I mean, they're gonna take advantage of a situation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if mom's giving them sympathy because dad's so mean, there's a part of mom that's loving hearing that, but if she's reinforcing like, no, that's your dad, that's, he loves you and all this kind of stuff. I mean, that's going to dissipate. Now, if you have another parent that's not working with you, again, all you can do is you, and be someone. And as long as you're not stooping to their level and not doing exactly what they're doing, that kid will start to see it for themselves. You don't have to tell them, because really just all it does is it stresses them out and puts them in the middle. And, I mean, my parents separated when I was, 30, something like that. And, it was difficult with my mom deciding, not to be in the room with my dad, or saying that she won't go places with, his girlfriend there, or, that even us as being, adults, that made it so difficult for us. And I understand they're going through a difficult time, but again, you're the parent, and, I remember a friend of mine one time said, well, if so-and-so and I just ever split up, we'll just, we'll learn to get along, and we'll, we'll do Christmases together, and and I remember thinking, hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. And obviously, you don't want the situation to be, you don't want Christmas ruined. So if neither one of you can handle yourselves, then yeah, that might be a better option. But Nico and I have, we decided, because of some of the other stuff that had happened with the older kids when they were younger, we were not going to do that. So we have chosen to, we still do Christmas together. This is the first year that his girlfriend joined in, and it was great. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's not that easy, like I said, but the kids were so happy, and I love seeing them feel comfortable, because, divorce is, regardless of the age, so hard on children that, anything that you can do to make it easier for them, because you as the parents, it's your decision, and I understand it's like, some people would think, well, it wasn't my choice, to be divorced. Well, it wasn't mine either. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you can suck it up and, just let your kids be comfortable in a situation.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And probably really needing to, obviously, easier said than done. And also,
it is easier said than done. I'm telling you, but children. You can do it. Yeah.
But it's probably, you learn, and like kids, like growing up, it's kind of the idea of like, you do what you can in the home, but they're what they get at school, the people they're around, their teachers, what they're watching, what they're hearing, how they learn, ends up being so much more like what they're taking in and experiencing, so much more than what you can't shield children from everything.
Right.
Right. And you can't change that. They're going to, excuse me, kind of be affected by influenced by other people or other things. So something like you can control, though, is that you can continue to show them that relationships and family is so, and how you treat people and respect each other is so much more than like the marriage or the you know, the paperwork that was done. Like if people aren't working out together anymore, it doesn't have, I mean, it's sad. It is like, that's natural.
And for some people it's it's devastating.
Devastating.
Right.
But also at the same time, and as you know, kids will learn as they get older and you end up going through the similar things or go through the same things, is that it doesn't have to mean that the ties are broken and that you can't have a relationship or you can't like still be a family. Right. There's just other things that come with being married to someone that you don't have those anymore, but that doesn't mean you can't still have, you know, have a relationship and have respect for somebody.
Well, and you still have a family. It just looks differently.
Yeah, it just looks different.
Yeah. Like, you know, I'm just the single one. I'm just kidding. I'm not bitter.
You're never going to be
You have to be okay with going it alone. But kids can learn a lot of how to treat people by observing you working it and finding a way to make it work. Absolutely. And kids are very easy to manipulate when they are younger. They become harder as they are adults. And all I've said to people is that your kid is only a kid for a very small portion of their life. Mm-hmm. Whatever you do in that period of time, you had better be willing to answer for it in their adulthood. Because I know, you know, for me, as I've gotten older, well, it's been a while. But as I was, you know, getting to an age where I was like raising my own kids and doing all of that, you know, you really do start to question some of the things that were told to you. And, you know, you see so much more than just what's in your family. And when you're sheltered like that, you know, your parents at some point, if you are doing something that is, you know, I don't want to say nasty, but if you're doing something like that, they will hold you accountable for that later, you know, and they will migrate as adults, which is, again, more of their life than they are, you know, young kids. They will migrate towards that parent that has been more steady, I guess, and less, you know, nasty and, you know, wanting to be favored, you know, at all costs. And again, and if you've ever given into that, that's okay. You can change it. You know, again, I haven't always done the right thing. I've definitely, there's been times when I've felt really vulnerable and said something or done something that I later go, oh my God, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Because you're human.
Right. But
everyone, you know, makes mistakes and are driven emotionally. And sometimes some of those things can be, or feel like they're almost out of your control. Right. You know, and you do things or say things in a way that's like self-preservation. Right. And like fight or flight. And
or impulsive or, you know, I mean,
and you can, you know, either later, depending on how much practice you have with this, of like self-reflection, it may take some time before you're able to realize like where you could have done something different to make it better. Right. Or it could be immediately after, be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't I should have done this instead of that. But even that is an amazing thing to understand, is if we're all just wanting what's best for ourselves and for people around us and for your kids, then you are probably already doing things that will help you reflect and make better choices. And it's okay that you may have said something before, or you could have done something differently, because you can be that better person. Sure. Like you're already on your way to,
as long as you're willing to learn from that mistake. And I think that's it too, is that I wasn't raised really in an environment where, I was talking to my sister about this. We weren't raised in an environment like where you had parents really admitting to wrongdoing. Does that make sense? Yep. It was, so I think, And I think that, you know, I took some from my upbringing and used it, and then I didn't with some, but I definitely, some of the bad things I did end up doing just out of what I had learned from them. And, I mean, I'm just learning it now. Like it's more than just recognizing and then trying to do differently, but it is okay. And I wish I had done this more, especially with my older kids. I've learned more, of course, with Ruby, you know, being a parent longer, is that it's okay to say, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Or I screwed up. You know, I mean, that's so validating for kids to hear,
yep.
you know, like, oh, you know, because I mean, sometimes, you know, I'm thinking of situations like sometimes I was talking to my brother-in-law about it, and he's like, yeah, you know, his mom would, like now if they say anything, she's like, oh, I know, I was just a terrible parent. And it's, you know, so passive aggressive. Like that's not really apologizing, you know, for what you're doing. It's just kind of, you know, oh yeah, poor me, you know, I'm like this shitty mom. And I think that, you know, with my older kids, I would have wished that more often when I would do something, rather than just thinking it and going, oh gosh, I shouldn't do that again, I wish I would have gone in and said, you know what, moms
make mistakes too.
Moms make mistakes, you know, and I'm sorry.
And with that, I mean, that
you're
right
still
there,
grounded,
well,
but I'm sorry.
That right there is, it's again teaching them how to handle situations and how to, and that it's okay to be wrong if you are wanting to do things differently next time.
Right.
You know,
if the goal is to be better, you know,
versus like, mom knows that she shouldn't have done that. She didn't tell me it, but I know it.
Right.
And then learning that like you may do something wrong, but instead of accepting it, acknowledging it, or kind of learning from it in the moment and handling it so things can be done differently in the future, you just hold it inside and then like let it go.
Right.
And then the chances of it happening again are very high.
Well, and if I was being really honest, I think probably I never apologized at that time because I thought they would hold it against me.
Probably.
Like mom even knows she's wrong, you know? And so, and that's kind of how I was raised. It was kind of like probably the idea of saying, you know, I mean, I don't know, I can't think of a specific situation, but the idea of saying like, I handled that wrong, or I'm sorry, like the consequences still may be the same. You know, I'm thinking like as in terms of like when you're disciplining your kid or, you know, or something like that. But, you know, you can still explain to them like, this is still wrong and it's still not okay or whatever, but I should not have said this, or I should not have, you know, done that. Mm-hmm. And I'm still learning it, you know. I mean, I'm like a really passive aggressive grudge holder, I've noticed, you know.
You're the nicest grudge holder I've ever met.
You're sweet. No, but my brother-in-law, Joe, who we did the meditation thing with, the episode, he's also had his own journey, and he and I, you know, he's been with my sister forever. So, I mean, probably almost 30 years. So we've known each other a long time. And so I was going to show him my house that I'm building, and there's a hike up above it. So he's like, oh, we should go on this hike. I was like, okay. So like we go on this hike, and you know, it's like an hour up, and then they have these like, I think I talked about it last time. They had like these lime kilns, and like we went inside and sat there, and you know, he's like, we were just talking about life, and you know, how, you know, you're always a work in progress, you know, and how we're just coming into our own, trying to, you know, really figure that out. And, it was a really intense conversation, but it was good. You know, it's, I think it's always good to be able to go, okay, I did this wrong. I can forgive myself, but then also, you know, try to figure out a way to like, let that go, you know? And so, especially like with all the kids stuff, you know, and, sorry, I'm like going on and on and on rambling, but, it's, so I feel like we're in a good place now with all the kids. You know, if there's anything I did to really fuck them up, I haven't found out yet. So, we'll stay tuned. I might have a whole different story after the wedding. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was growing up, I'll say this and then we can close.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I feel like when I was in I'm the youngest of 4, and my parents fought a lot for like majority of like me growing up.
Yeah.
And my oldest 2 siblings, I know one of them's listening to this. I love you. But they were very challenging. And like my parents got married young and had kids young, and my mom and dad now have a better relationship than they have had probably since, you know, when they first got married.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
And it's a really wonderful thing. And it's wonderful because there's been so much bad stuff that's happened. I guess like within my family, with like whether it's like something happening with my sister or my brother or my other sister or me. And through, I think a lot, like my parents, when I went away to college, there was a period of time where all the kids were gone and they were working on their relationship and kind of put in a situation where they didn't have kids anymore.
Right.
So
and you're like, yeah, well,
they didn't have,
that's a whole other ball game.
And like, we were all very busy kids. We had a lot of extracurricular that we were all doing. And when you don't have that to like take care of anymore and like take up all your time,
it's almost a distraction. Yeah. To be
now
honest.
You're back with, you know, this person that my mom was in a situation where it was like she did not know how to be alone with my dad anymore. Right. Because she hadn't been for 30 years.
Right. Yeah. Years and years.
A long time.
Yeah.
And, but it, you know, they were able to relearn, and probably not even relearn, just learn how to communicate. And it really just, and like how to forgive, how they each, like maybe like in the past, and like things that you grudges that you hold, how to like let those go. And the reality of the situation is we're all changing, and we go through things, and you're going to have ups and downs. And as long, you know, sometimes it's not going to work out, and it's, you know, and it's for the better, because we do change, and you end up learning things about yourself that you need different things. And if people aren't capable of giving you those, that doesn't make you a bad person. You shouldn't keep trying to make yourself fit in a situation or a place where it's just not going to fit. And being able to understand each other, and then also come together, and for them to like recommunicate what they needed and let go of the things that had happened or things that had said because of what they, you know, because of where they are and who they are, and being able to realize how much they truly like need each other at this point. And now, like my family, when I was growing up, I feel like was seen as like a fucked up family. Because, because like my older 2 siblings got into a lot of trouble. Sure. And like with the law. And there was just a lot of things. And you know, we always like talk about it. Like we made it out. And look how great all of you are now. We made it out. Right. And our family works together better as a family. We actually function as a family. And we're more open to saying when you're wrong, right, and taking fault, you know, just taking responsibility, but also when someone takes responsibility, letting them do that, and still like caring about like what they're going through, and then helping them through the process. And it's like, well, we all just want to be better, and we all just want to function as a family, like whatever that looks like. And as time has gone on, I'm really close with like my cousins. Some of them, like really, really close. And like, so things that they're going through, we're all, you know, a part of that as well. And yeah, communication and being able to take responsibility for what's happening, you know, control the things you can, let go of the things you can't, right, and allow yourself to be better, and allow yourself to forgive things that you may regret, or conversations you had, or how you reacted to somebody, or how you communicated, or whatever. If it wasn't like the most positive, or it wasn't the way to give you a very positive, what's the word? I don't know. Result. That's okay. We all make mistakes. It's okay that you may not communicate the best, as long as there's an understanding and everyone's intention is to work it out.
Right.
And to understand and just, be a family again, whatever that looks like.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that can be involved.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be blood, or it doesn't have to be, in one household.
Right.
And
I think that's where we've talked about empathy and like friendships and all of that. That's where that, again, learning to be empathetic to somebody else's situation. And I think that really, that does apply even, like, as I was saying, in my world, trying to remember, well, how does that feel for, so-and-so's, Nico's girlfriend, or how does that feel for my kids, or how does that feel, for, Joey's mom, like we were talking about doing the mother-son dance.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I hope, because he wants to dance with both of us, which is so sweet. I mean, I'm so honored. But I think about stuff like, oh, well, how's that going to make his mom feel? And so I was like telling him, like, just make sure your mom goes first. I'll go second. Even like when I was picking out a song, I picked out the song, and then I was like, well, I hope his mom doesn't think that's too much, but I think that, and I'm not saying I've done everything right at all. I mean, I know it's like kind of leading up to that. It makes it sound like I'm so great. But I think it is, when you go into a situation, I try to just like stop and think, how is that going to make the other person feel, and hopefully you'll make the right choice from there.
And you can't control other people and what choices they make and how they react. All you can control is who you are. And at a certain point, it's like with parents, right? If you're like they come to your house and it's like you've been trying to instill rules or things that the other person is not enforcing. Right. That is extremely difficult. And there's not really, and you've talked to me about this, like there's not much you can do. All you can do is hold up your end of the bargain, and over time,
and be a good example.
And hope that
and I do
stick with
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I do. You're all jerk, you asshole. No, but I think that is what's important, is that, and you have to be careful too, because like I've known step parents before, because I have the advantage where I'm a mom and a stepmom, so I can see it from both sides. And now, an ex. Before I wasn't the ex. Now I'm an ex. So now I've got all three.
Triple threat.
Now I'm a triple threat. Exactly. But I think I just totally lost my train of thought. Damn it.
That's all right.
Oh,
you guys, it's about lead by example.
Yeah.
Which I've been told that since I was so little. And
I know what I was going to say.
Oh, say it.
Sorry. I just remember. No. So I had a friend who was a stepmom, and it was almost like, since the rules were so different at the other house, she overdid it at her house.
Oh,
does that make sense? So it was like there was no room for error at her house. These were the rules, and I think her intent was good. I don't think she was trying to be awful, but it was very hard to be around, watching her so on this kid that it didn't even seem like it was possible for her to even be this perfect child. And so it's almost like you have to, like you said, you just have your values at home, you do what you can do, and you don't need to overcompensate for what's happening in another home. Mm-hmm. So I just want to say that. I totally interrupted you. That's exactly what I was trying to say. Maggie's asleep. All right, so we're gonna close it with that, guys.
Yeah. All of you can really have lots of takeaways from today's podcast, just because it's really just about relationships.
Yeah. It really is.
But thanks for listening to another episode of Between the Reps with Brooke and Gina.
Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, 5-star rating, 5-star warning, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah.
All right, bye.